Good morning. The OECD announced yesterday that it expects the world's economy to grow at 5.75% this year. Let's see how that breaks down. U.S. markets yesterday were closed for the Memorial Day weekend, but amidst a dearth of economic data, except sales performance for one of the nation's most celebrated sales fests, the U.S. administration can take solace in agreement amongst G7 nations to support the global minimum corporate tax rate. They're set to put that to words in London later this week. Market will report on manufacturing in Canada at 1:30 p.m. GMT and the U.S. 15 minutes later, before ISM hands its PMIs in at 2. Then at 11 tonight, vehicle sales in the U.S. China may have its digital yuan, but the EU will soon have a block-wide digital wallet, according to the Financial Times. That wallet will be used primarily to stock personal documents and access services. No mention of payments. European markets dropped into the red yesterday, the Euro stocks with a crashing 0.75%. Preliminary German CPIs yesterday show a 2.5% increase year-on-year in May, while short-term French bonds auctioned off with slightly increasing yields, both of these indicating rising inflation on the continent. Still ahead today, manufacturing PMIs from Germany, the UK, and the EU, the last which will also be reporting CPIs at 9 a.m. GMT, and unemployment a half hour later. England's retailers will report on shop prices at 11 tonight. European contagion spread into Asia overnight, with downward pressure felt in Japan and Shanghai, but less so in Hong Kong and New Zealand. There, the Dow rose 1.4%. The Aussie continues surging ahead after the central bank held interest rates at 0.1%. This comes after an increasing manufacturing PMI, a better-than-expected 8.6% contraction in building approvals, and an $18.3 billion current account surplus. Meanwhile, Japan's manufacturing sector also registered a half-point improvement in base PMI, and market reported a one-tick improvement in China's Caixin manufacturing PMI as well. We're taking another look at the Aussie dollar pair just before the US emerges from its Memorial Day sales gloom. Despite the Australian dollar rising nicely on last night's data, we can see that the pair refused to breach R1 at 77.68. The MACD is about to cross quite resolutely below its trigger, and the RSI has retreated sharply from overbought. At the moment, we're sitting pretty on a rather historical support level at 77.42, but things could get rocky. Australian GDP for Q1 will be in tonight at 1:30 after midnight, so let's see how the moods swing until then. WTI this morning is up nearly 2%. The Brent has stopped the 70 mark as the global COVID glut winds down, and OPEC Plus producers indicate they may soon cut back on their pumping quotas. Gold continues north, and even cryptos this morning are in the green with their best daily performance in a week. That's after a former official of the People's Bank of China said central bank tokens would probably operate on Ethereum-style blockchains that would enable them to use smart contracts and stuff. On the Bitcoin chart, we seem to be back in a bullish mood now that the RSI and the moving average are upward bound. You'll notice the Bollinger Bands are quite narrow, indicating less volatility despite very low volumes, and we're converging towards 36K and a bit, with a good chance of breaking out above that narrowing channel at just below 38. Give it a few days, we'll be able to see where the crypto technicals are taking us. Somber somewhat. We're still 3 days to go, and then there's the NFP madness and a new week. So cheer up, trade happy, and see you all tomorrow.